to my channel and happy Tuesday, April 4th. I am so excited that it is finally here. Yes, it is the release date for the third and final installment in the Alpha Drive trilogy, Restitution. I cannot believe that this day has finally come. I'm so excited for this day to be here, and I'm so excited for this final book in the Alpha Drive trilogy to be released into the world, and everyone will know how the Alpha Drive series ends. I am so excited. I couldn't be happier. I put a lot of effort into all of my books, and especially this one. I feel like with each book that I write, I'm just finding my voice more and more, and that's just a really neat experience. So I'm very sad to see the series come to an end, but I'm also filled with so much excitement and happiness that it's finally here. So in case you're new to my channel or you're stopping by for the first time or you don't know much about me, hi. My name is Kristen Martin. I'm a young adult science fiction and fantasy author living in Houston, Texas. I am self-published, and I now have a full trilogy published as of today. So my first book in the series is The Alpha Drive. The second book is The Order of Omega. And the third book, which is being released today, is Restitution. You can find and purchase all of my books on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, The Book Depository, and Books A Million. This book may take a little while to show up on Barnes & Noble and The Book Depository, but it is available on Amazon as well as on Kindle. So you can download the ebooks of all three of my books. And through Friday, April 7th, you can get both of these books in ebook format on Kindle for a very, very discounted price. You can get the Alpha Drive ebook for 99 cents, and you can get the Order of Omega ebook for only $1.99. Again, that's on Kindle. It is valid for the US and the UK only, and that price promotion will be going on through Friday, April 7th. You do not need an actual Kindle to participate. If you have a tablet or a smartphone, then you can go to the App Store or the Google Play Store. You can download the Kindle app for free and then download both of these books and start reading. Restitution is full price. It's $4.99 for the ebook, or you can go ahead and buy this in paperback or hardcover, any of those choices. So here it is, my full series. So exciting. I just can't believe that I have a full series published, especially since the Alpha Drive was published in November of 2015 and it's April of 2017. It just feels so amazing to have a whole trilogy published. And for those that have followed me for a while, you know that I am working on my dark fantasy series. I'm excited to announce more about that and when that potentially could be released. And I'm just really excited for that one. So like I said, I am sad to see the series come to an end, but at the same time, I feel like my characters got the ending that they deserved. It's everything I wanted it to be. So I feel good closing this series and moving on to my next one. Okay, we're gonna take this off because now we're getting into the video. Also, I just want to let you guys know that it is raining and thunderstorming outside. So if you hear some pitter patter on the window and if you hear thunder, then just know it's because it's raining. Now that I've written a full series, I felt inclined to make a video on how to wrap up a series, as well as the things I've learned and maybe things that you can avoid or just learnings that you can take away when you're writing a series. So without further ado, I have 5 things I want to talk about. So let's go ahead and get into this video. Number 1 is to have thorough character and world maps. I know I say this in a lot of my videos, but make sure you have your characters and your world completely mapped out. You'd be amazed. With each book I wrote in the Alpha Drive trilogy, I asked myself the same questions over and over again. Is the scar on the commander's left or right cheek? Where is Torn from again? Are the crystal dials used for teleportation in the 7S world, or is it just between 7S and Dormants? These are actual questions I asked myself over and over again because I honestly couldn't remember. And I hadn't written these things down. You wouldn't think that you'll forget any aspects about your characters or your world, but trust me, you will. Writing one story is difficult enough, but writing 3 and having everything tie in and remembering everything about every aspect of your world and characters is extremely difficult. Especially if it's not written down somewhere, you can easily find it. If you don't have it written down in a Word document or in Scrivener, in an organized fashion, you'll end up going through certain chapters to reread certain sections, and trust me, you do not have time for that. Thoroughly map your characters and your world out first, organize the information, then outline your series. It will save you major headaches in the long run. Number 2, adjust your outline to reflect the events that actually happen in your book. Once your book is ready to be published, make sure you go back through and adjust your outline to match the events that happened in your book. It's really surprising how much information you change either by cutting it out completely or adding other things in during the editing and revision process. And because you're slashing scenes and adding new ones, it can be really difficult to differentiate between what you thought you wrote and what you actually wrote. So having an outline that actually reflects what truly happened in book 1 will really help you when you sit down to write book 2. Otherwise, you'll find yourself rereading certain sections in book 1 in order to figure out what information may need to be repeated or foreshadowed for book 2 and subsequently book 3. Outlines that reflect the true events in your book is key. Number 3, discern what needs to be repeated. When you write a series, there is always an aspect of setting the scene all over again, but not as in-depth as you did in the first book. There is a delicate balance between explaining certain characters again or fundamental storylines, just in case, for some reason, someone decides to pick up the second book in your series first. Why anyone would do this is completely beyond me, but I digress. You want to make sure you don't bore your previous readers by reintroducing every aspect of your world and characters, because if they've read book 1, then they know all of this already. The best way to do this is to fold the information into the storyline in the most natural way possible. Whether it's 2 characters talking about something that happened in the past in book 1 and reminiscing, a flashback of some sort, or a familiar setting with different action or dialogue going on. It is challenging to balance these respective needs, and it's going to be up to you to decide what to include and what to leave out. But you're the one who knows your story inside and out, so you're the best judge. Don't doubt yourself. Number 4, write each book as a standalone, aka stakes should be high. I found that the best way to write a series is to write each book as if it were a standalone, with its own plot and its own character arcs. Each book must have high stakes that your readers care about and that your characters are willing to die for. If you don't have high stakes, then the books in the middle are going to feel like bridge books, where the only real stakes and plot happenings are in the first and last book. Don't do this. If you write each book as a standalone, then your readers are going to be engaged throughout the entire series, which is what you want. A great example here is the Harry Potter series. Each book has its own plot and its own character arcs, and we do get introduced to a lot of new characters throughout the series. There is one overarching theme, but technically each book could stand on its own because it has a beginning, middle, and end with high stakes that the characters are willing to die for. Come to think of it, I think Harry is willing to die for everything he's fighting for in every single book. Do that and your series will be phenomenal. And last but not least, number 5, make sure all your questions are answered from the previous book and that new ones are brought to light for the next. While each book in a series should be a standalone, you have to make sure you answer all the questions left hanging at the end of the previous book. In addition, with each book in the series, you need to open new questions that can be answered in the next book. This is really where foreshadowing comes into play and why I mentioned that you should have the correct outline ready to go once you finish writing each one of your books. Dropping hints and clues throughout each book in your series is going to be so much easier if you have a correct outline to reference. So I'm going to tell you how I make sure all unanswered questions in my books are taken care of throughout the series. The first thing I do is read through my updated outline for book 1. I read all the way through it and highlight any areas where I maybe did not answer the question fully in book 1, or some areas that I possibly could expand upon in later books, and I highlight those in different colors. I then look at those highlighted areas and I formulate questions around them. Then I brainstorm what the potential solution or reasoning could be. This does take a lot of time, but it's well worth it to ensure that you don't leave your readers hanging at the end of any books and that you have new questions and new subplots and plots for your next books. The next thing I do once I have those unanswered questions is to plug the answers to the unanswered questions into my outline. And as I'm creating the new outline for my next book, I will go back and think about some new questions that I could raise for that book. A quick piece of advice: you won't always know what the unanswered questions are until you have your series fully mapped out. You'll go back to book 1 and you'll think, oh, this part of my book was answered sufficiently, but I could expand upon it in book 3 or 4 or 5. Writing a series and wrapping that series up is a huge discovery process. You'll constantly be discovering new and old questions to add into later books that you didn't even realize needed answering. For restitution, I was still discovering old questions that I could answer that I hadn't even thought about during the final months of editing. Hey, that's the beauty of crafting a series. That's all that I have for you guys today. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. All 3 of my books are now available for purchase on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, The Book Depository, and Books A Million. You can also order signed copies of all 3 books. For more information on how to get your hands on autographed copies, feel free to click on the link in the description box below. I have teamed up with Audible, the premier provider of digital audiobooks with over 180,000 titles to choose from, to give you guys some free stuff. If you go to audibletrial.com/KristenMartinBooks, then you can get a free audiobook download and a free 30-day trial for their service. My books are not yet available in audiobook format, but this is something I'm working on for the future. If you didn't already know, I have opened up a Society6 store where you can get some #AuthorLife goodies like pillows, mugs, laptop cases, sleeves, and more. Go to society6.com/authorKristenMartin to check it out. I will be attending BookCon this year, which is June 3rd and June 4th in New York City. I do have a booth number 2776 where I'll be selling and signing copies of my books. You do not have to buy my books at BookCon in order for me to sign them. You are more than welcome to bring your copies from home and I will still sign them. I would prefer that because then I don't have to bring as much inventory with me from Texas to New York. I'm so excited for this event and I hope to see all of you there. I'm still offering first chapter critiques for $65 flat, and I do have a new service that I recently introduced, which are Skype consultations. You can book a 30-minute, hour-long, 2-hour-long Skype session with me, either video chat or we can do audio only, whatever you prefer. And we can talk about things like self-publishing, the costs, formatting your books, and even more intangible aspects such as time management and finding balance in your life. For more information on these services or to sign up, feel free to click on the link in the description box below. Don't forget that you can get the ebook versions of the Alpha Drive and the Order of Omega through Friday, April 7th on the Kindle store for only 99 cents for the Alpha Drive and $1.99 for the Order of Omega. That price promotion is valid for the US and the UK. And if you're not already following me on my social media accounts, specifically Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat, make sure you do that for daily writing inspiration and advice, as well as to stay up to date on any announcements, price promotions, or giveaways that might be going on. If you have any questions or anything you'd like me to talk about in one of my next videos, feel free to leave a comment down below. You can also ask a question or post a comment anonymously on my Ask Me Anything page on Tumblr. Again, all the links are listed below. Again, thank you so much for watching. I would love for you to subscribe to my channel on your way out. Don't forget to check out Restitution as well. I post new writing advice videos on Mondays and personal day in the life vlogs on Thursdays. I will see you guys next time. Bye.